All right, welcome to journal number 3. So the first thing that you've got to do is put in your name. So please put in your first and last name on that line, and then click whatever period that you are in, and then hit next. And here's the question. Now, this is a 6th grade flashback. That's what FB means, not Facebook, means flashback. So because this is a 6th grade flashback, that means that this is something that you're technically already supposed to know. Why am I asking you something from the 6th grade, you say? Well, because the SOL for the 8th grade covers everything you learned in 6th grade, everything you learned in 7th grade, and everything you learned in 8th grade science. Think about it. When was the last time that you had a science SOL? That's right, after 5th grade. So that means that when you take this test, there's going to be questions on it that's from stuff that you learned back in the 6th grade. Well, here's the thing. You literally have different brain cells now than you had in the 6th grade. So I don't really expect you to know a bunch of this stuff the way I want you to know it. But that's what I'm here for. I'm going to teach you what you need to know. So the question is, what is a watershed? And what are Virginia's 3 major watersheds? So a watershed is a large area of land where the rain falls and then flows in response to gravity and collects in streams, and then those streams feed rivers, and then those rivers feed larger rivers, and then those rivers eventually run into a larger body of water like a bay or an ocean or a sound or a gulf or whatever. So you can see on the picture that there is an area that is pink. There's an area that is green. And there's an area that is blue. So there are 3 major watersheds. So those 3 major watersheds are the Chesapeake Bay, the North Carolina Sound, and the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I know that is really crazy to think about, that Gulf of Mexico would have anything to do with Virginia. But think about what my definition of watershed was. It's the place where the rain falls and then flows in response to gravity and collects. So all of this area, and in fact, all of this area too, all of this pink area, any rain that falls in that area, falls in the mountains up here, flows this way. Falls in the mountains here, flows this way. Falls in our little area, flows this way. Falls here, flows this way. All of this water collects in the Chesapeake Bay. So that's why that is the Chesapeake Bay watershed, because that's where that rain ends up, in the Chesapeake Bay. Now, there's a little ridge line here, and it runs just about through where we live, where suddenly, because of gravity, because of whatever, the rain that's fallen doesn't go up and into the Chesapeake Bay. Nope, it doesn't do that. The rain that falls here goes down into the North Carolina Sound. So it rains and rains and rains in all these places, and all these creeks and streams run this way. And then last but not least is the Gulf of Mexico watershed. So all of the rain that falls in this area of Virginia goes that way. Now, I know it's crazy to think about Gulf of Mexico, but all of the water that rains there goes into the Mississippi River, and the Mississippi River eventually goes to the Ohio River, and then eventually ends up in the Mississippi River, and the Mississippi River goes into the Gulf of Mexico. So the watersheds are always named by where the water ends up finally, like what's the last place that it hits before the ocean. So now we can type in an answer. So our answer would be a watershed is a large area of land where rain falls, flows in response to gravity, and collects in larger and larger bodies of water. Virginia's 3 major watersheds are Chesapeake Bay, North Carolina Sound, and Gulf of Mexico. And then you're going to hit submit. All right, good job. Thank you.